Good morning. I'm here with Sarah Bayliss, who is a teacher in the primary school system. Has got around about 10 years experience, and she's going to help us with some answers about the NAPLAN process. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning.
How are you?
Well, thank you.
That's good. So can I ask you first, how long exactly have you been a primary school teacher?
This will be my 10th year of primary school teaching.
10 years, sure. And who's your employer and what school do you work at?
I'm currently employed by Education Queensland and I am working at Norris Road State School at Bracken Ridge.
Oh, lovely. What grade do you teach?
Currently I have a grade 5-6 composite class.
Grade 5 and 6 composite, okay. So I assume that, given you've got grade 5 students, you would have been involved in preparing them for NAPLAN?
Yes, this year definitely, and it was the first year that I had experienced preparing the children for NAPLAN online.
And what sort of things did you find that were beneficial in preparing them for the NAPLAN in general rather than just NAPLAN online?
Well, we prepare them mostly for test wiseness, not so much content, because that's going against, we don't want to teach the test, so we still teach the curriculum, but we teach them test wiseness, so things like how to select multiple choice questions, process of elimination, that kind of thing, and just getting them used to reading questions and keywords and that kind of thing. So not specifically preparing them for the test and the types of questions they might get, but just kind of test wiseness.
Have you prepared grade 3 students for NAPLAN before?
Yes, I've had 5 years experience of teaching grade 3 students for NAPLAN.
Do you think the older students handle it a little bit better? Or?
Yes, they're probably less anxious. However, we do tend to find in that grade 5 cohort, there tends to be a slump in terms of, they tend to plateau in terms of their engagement with school. So they tend to disengage with wanting to do the test, and that might impact on their results. And definitely with grade 3, it's the first kind of standardized test that they are doing, so it's very new for them, having to sit down, raise their hand, not call out, be isolated, not have teacher help. So it does create a bit of a new environment for them, on top of 3 days of testing, 4 tests. So they do tend to get quite tired at that age with that kind of expectation.
I guess one of the key questions is, do you find that your students' NAPLAN performance is in line with their ability or their general grading?
For the most part, yes. However, there are some discrepancies. So with the reading and language conventions, I do find that somewhat aligns with how they are performing academically across the semester. But when it comes to the writing and the numeracy, we do tend to see some discrepancies there, because they're being done in such a way that is not looking at the whole child's ability, but rather individual.
You think that test anxiety or sociocultural differences, that sort of thing, impact the children in their results not reflecting their capability?
Yes, definitely. I think we see that a lot more in recent years. I'm not sure why, but anxiety seems to be a thing that a lot of children are facing these days. So when it comes to NAPLAN, and I think there is such a media hype around it, and their parents talk about it and they hear about it on the news and all that kind of thing. So it's built up to be this really big, important part of their school life. So I guess that brings with it pressure. And then obviously with pressure can lead to, that ability not being able to perform and all of that. So definitely test anxiety does play a big part in how the children do perform. And sometimes we do find that it can be even the really smartest of children that put that pressure on themselves and then underperform because they've just built up all that anxiety around it.
The last question, and I know it's a little bit of a loaded question given who your employer is, but I'll ask it anyway. Do you think there's merit in the current NAPLAN system?
Yes, I do. I think not from an individual child's perspective, but definitely from a school-wide perspective. So when we get our NAPLAN results, we sit down as a school and we look at the data and we look at general trends, and that can inform where we go to next with school-wide pedagogy and school-wide agendas. And it can kind of inform where the principal wants to embed some money to get PD or whatever it is that they want to do to improve particular areas. So I know in previous years we've seen a trend with our reading has kind of dipped in that grade 5 level. So yep. That's shown us that, okay, when we're teaching reading in grade 5, we need to try some different strategies or some different approaches to help keep the kids, at a good level for their reading. So I definitely think from a school-wide perspective it is beneficial, but I do not think it is beneficial from analysing an individual child. So I know a lot of schools now require kids to take their NAPLAN results to their high school interviews. I don't agree with that because it's not a true snapshot of their ability. Their report card is a much better indication of how they are going holistically across key learning areas. But so yeah, it's definitely got pros and cons, but
sure.
Yeah.
Could be improved.
Could be improved, definitely. Yeah.
Lovely. All right, well, that's all. Thanks very much for your time, Sarah. I really appreciate it. And you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
And that's it from me. You stay classy, San Diego.